I'm joined here today once more by Fergus White, summiter of Everest and author of bestseller Ascent Into Hell, also well known to 24/7 Meeting as a long-standing corporate customer.
Hey, good to be back again. Good to see you.
Good to talk. Yep, all good. I'm looking forward to catching up and finding out what's going on with your friends and compadres in Everest. Maybe you care to take us through. I think today, from what I understand, you can show me the kind of route and where people are
at the moment, I mean, today is May 9th and the climbers are up at the Camp 3 stage. So I thought today we'd have a look at the route from base camp up to Camp 3, give everyone an idea of what's involved in that and how easy or hard it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe good. First up there's the route there in its totality. If I just have the little spotlight here. So this is the Himalayas. That's Everest there at the top. Lhotse, fourth highest mountain in the world, and Lhotse. Down here, this is all glacier down here. You can see where the mouse is, and this is base camp. So base camp is all the way along there. And in the climbing season, which is pretty much now, there'll be in and around 1,000 people living there. First climb up is through the Icefall. We'll have a look at that in a moment. It's about 600 meters in altitude. That goes up through there. Camp 1 is just hidden in here between Everest and Lhotse. We'll be able to see some photos now in a little while of this up close. Continues up here. Camp 2 is based here. That's at 6,400 meters. Go along here, then up to the Lhotse face. Camp 3 is here, just on some ledges on the Lhotse face. That's as far as we go today, but the route from there would go along here, goes over to Geneva Spur, up to the South Col here, Camp 4, and then up the Southeast Ridge, South Summit, Hillary Step, and to the summit. So how's that sound?
Interesting. And from what you're telling me at the moment, people most of the climbers are around about here.
Oh no, higher. They've touched. They've touched
okay.
Camp 3, so they're probably sleeping at Camp 2, but they've acclimatized up to Camp 3. Camp 3 isn't the kind of place you'll spend much time at.
Okay.
Camp 2 is a little bit more hospitable.
Okay. And a question for you. I mean, is there a road up to this part of base camp?
No, you're walking in. The closest you can do is fly into Lukla, which is a small airstrip about 50 kilometers away. It's 2,800 meters, so it's about 3 kilometers below, and it's a trek all the way in.
Okay.
It's like going along the Wicklow Way. I mean, it's just people walking. So everything there has to come in either on someone's back or on a donkey, on a mule, on an ox.
Okay.
Something like that.
No roads, no quads,
no roads, no
rails.
And
okay.
It gets, the higher up you get, the scrappier it gets, and everything just beneath number 1. That's all glacier there. It's grey, but that's the broken moraine and rock on top of a glacier.
It's not tarmac.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything there is moving 1 meter a day towards the sea. So if you try to build something, it's all moving.
Of this is all ice just flowing down from the top of the mountain.
Yeah, the ice constantly, very gradually, it's always moving, and every now and then it'll make a big move. It'll take out rock with it.
Okay. And what we're looking at here, I mean, is this, say, from base camp up to Camp 1? Is that kind of 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers?
No, let's just go on maybe the next slide there. You're probably only looking at about 1.5 miles or so, 2 kilometers. I mean, if it was flat, it was at sea level, it would be be a simple walk for anyone to do. Problem is, though, it's not flat and it's at some altitude. So looking in here, this is one of the last. This was our base camp here a few years ago, right on the edge of the Icefall. These are the individual sleeping tents here. See these small square ones. This will be a toilet tent, a shower tent. These will be mess tents and storage tents here. And just after base camp, then you're straight into the Icefall proper. The Icefall is where the glacier comes down over a steep gradient. Because it's steep and uneven, it's constantly breaking and cracking. So you have lumps of ice, the size of a house, the size of an apartment block coming down there.
Okay.
So every year a new route has to be put in, and that route has to be maintained as well during the season because it's always moving.
And is that where an avalanche came down about 3 years ago, 2 years ago?
It was, 2014. There was an ice serac came off here off the west shoulder. Unfortunately, it came down here and it tracked left. And there was, unfortunately, there's climbers and Sherpas here, and the Sherpas, unfortunately, were killed there.
Yeah.
But as you can see, I mean, an ice serac can come down there. There'll be avalanches coming down here, and the glacier itself is always moving. So these individual blocks, I mean, what we're looking at from here to here, that's twice the height of the Empire State Building.
Okay.
There's always movement there, and there's always trouble. And
tons of ice.
And just this little bit here, that's actually Lhotse there. If I just go back up. You're actually looking, that's the fourth highest mountain in the world there. So what we're mostly looking at is from here up to about there. And then there's a big gap. And you're seeing all the way up then to Lhotse. So getting into the Icefall itself. So this is what the Icefall is. And from a distance, it just looks like popcorn. It looks like a big pile of white cotton wool. But actually up close, you can see what it is we're looking at. I mean, here's a man here. I mean, this beside him is, I suppose, it's a meter cubed. You can see compared to the man. So that's a metric ton. Now, all of these blocks have broken off something. You can see all the gaps here.
They're all
things have
fallen
come down.
there. Yeah.
It's constant movement here.
Yeah.
You can see the route through. I mean, here, there's that. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Question for you. I mean, is there a platform or a safety net at the bottom of this?
No, there's nothing there. No, the Icefall, not the Icefall, the Khumbu Glacier itself in times is a depth of 200 meters. So
Okay.
this could well go down 100 meters. You can see.
So in theory, it's the drop of 300 feet.
Yeah.
It might as well be going forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see the hard blue ice there of the glacier, and then the fresher snow on top, and the different layers. And of course, those layers, that's the sort of thing that can lead to avalanches as well. You know, where hard layers are slipping across softer layers, you're always in trouble. So you can see there where a ladder has been put across that crevasse there, just there, and you can see then the route continues on up here.
Okay, and I see this guy here, he's got a rope.
That's the fixed rope there, he's following it there. So the ice doctors who go up ahead, they'll pick out what they deem to be the safest route. They're looking for the least number of crevasses, the least number of ladders, you know, insofar as it's possible, putting yourselves underneath as little danger as possible.
Okay.
You don't want to be going straight under an overhang. And the
how,
reality is, it's always, you know, there's always a degree of danger there.
And how do they fix them in?
And it's just either ice screws or just stakes, depending on whether it's going into hard snow or going into ice. And they have to maintain them because the ice fall is moving, and of course during the afternoon there's freeze thaws and there's melting as well. So they do have to maintain them and watch them.
Okay, but, and they're put in every year, or they last a few years?
No, they're put in the whole. So the ice doctors will go up. What's April? It'll be the start of April. They'll go up. It takes them about a week to put the route through. It is. I mean, you'll see. Like we'll definitely see sometimes. You know, on the edge of a ladder, you'll see where a stake has come out. So pretty much on a daily basis, they have to be maintained.
Okay.
But by the time the end of May comes, it's too hot and they're all melting out.
So they don't come with lifetime guarantees?
No, I'm afraid not. No. Yeah. So the ladders are taken out by the end of May, and even by then, April, May, it'd be late June. Apologies.
Yeah. Okay. Very much after the season, after the climbing season.
Let me just get April, May. Early June, I would say they're taken out, and the ladders at that stage, I mean, they're buckled, they're bashed from the crampons.
Yeah.
And you can see here now. Here's another one. I mean, it's not all uniform in the Icefall. You know, there's sort of different sections of it. So even though it's always moving from year to year, there is a certain similarity. Looking at these guys here, you mentioned the rope. I mean, you can see the route that goes through. So here's a climber here, a little bit of rope there. You can see now this goes into the distance. And if you compare the size of the climbers to the size of the ice blocks, you get an idea of what you're up against. There's the route. There's a climber there. There's two climbers here climbing on their way up. This is looking down, by the way, into the Icefall. Another guy here on his way down. The route goes down there. Here's another climber here, another climber here. Obviously, then there's a bit of distance going on here.
Okay, and like they're all climbers in the background.
You can see some four guys there.
Like
from up here,
a kilometre away, or
exactly, yeah. So when you're in there, at times be very claustrophobic. You know, you're just often closed in. You can't much see what's above or behind you. And you have to sort of take it on faith that this is the best route. And
do people ever lose the ropes?
I mean, if there's a big avalanche, of course, the rope will get pulled out. If there's an ice fall, now and again, you know, I suppose we're all guilty of it. You take a little shortcut, you don't connect in. As well, a lot of times we travel through at night when it's dark. You know, if you didn't have the rope, well, you'd just go straight off. You'd go straight off track. So it is critical either to be connected into the rope or at least to have a loose hand on it to be following it. Because, as I said, it's like going through a maze. I'm just going to go back up there again. You can see from here. I mean, if you go off the wrong way here,
you could be wandering for weeks.
A human being here, it wouldn't quite be weeks. I think it'd go wrong before that. You would just look like a little ant going through here. That's all it would be.
Hold on to that rope.
Yeah, so here's another view of the Icefall here going through. So this is a more open section. It's nice you come to the open sections now and again. You'll probably sit down in the shade, take a little break with your buddies. You can see the route just going up there.
But it shows, I mean, say this lump of ice looks like it's, you know, it could, there's a big crack there. You know, tons of snow could come off that. I mean,
clearly, I mean,
compared to this guy, what's that? Maybe, you know, 3 or 4 story house.
That'd be a full house. I mean, compared to if it wasn't for the man, you'd have no idea what you're looking at. But that's the size of the house. And just to the left of where you're showing me, this went across here at some stage. I mean, everything here has broken, as you pointed out. All these cracks are here. And, you know, within the space of a month, this will be totally different. That won't be there. This won't be here. It's all moving, and everything here is getting pushed down. So
it's pot luck as to whether it falls on somebody or whether
well, I mean, you sort of take a look as you're going. They try to travel during the day as little as possible, because under the direct rays of the sun, there's always
when it melts and moves.
So people tend to kick off at 3 a.m. in the morning, and they try to get through the worst of it by maybe 9 a.m., 10 a.m. and then get out the top. So you can see the route goes through there, and then you can see 2 little men here. I mean, they're tiny, but and all the way up to the top. And just take a look then at this is the top of the icefall now. This is the very last piece of it, which tends to be a little bit similar each year because it's where the gradient begins. All of this is a crevasse. The whole thing we're looking at is a crevasse.
Yeah.
If this camera was to zoom out, we'd see a
giant
lip,
hole.
a giant hole.
Yeah.
And within that hole, you've got there's a mini crevasse here with a ladder, another crevasse here. There's a ladder across it there. You can see the hard glacier underneath it there. So.
And are you clipped onto the ladders?
No, we'll be clipped into a rope alongside the ladder. So if you fall off, you'll be clipped into that.
Like I assume, like if you're wearing crampons on your boots,
crampons there.
I assume crampons don't grip the ladders all that well.
Well, you'll just sort of use the middle. You've got the spikes on the front and the back, so you put your foot there in the middle. That's it.
Okay.
So you'll be hooked into the rope. I mean, if you fall, depending exactly how you hooked in,
you go a long way.
You'll still drop down to here, but you'd hope you'd be okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're not going to disappear down here and down into here, which is the problem. And these guys, when they're going across these crevasses, there's a side rope that they connect into again. So if they did come off, all going well, they just drop 3 or 4 feet, and they just hit the side of the crevasse there.
And did you ever see anybody, or that happened to you, or
no? Never happened to me. Never saw it happen to anyone.
Okay.
I know it's happened. I've seen photographs of it, but no, never saw anyone in any difficulty going across.
I mean, and should every climber be able to pull their own weight if that happens, that they pull their own weight out of?
I've seen guys go off on videos, and it's difficult because when you go down, the chances are your leg might end up on top of you. You've got your bag on your back. You can see this weight here. I mean, this was me. You can imagine.
That's not empty.
Yeah,
it's not just jumpers.
I could pretend I could be sort of self-rescue myself, but if I fall off one of them upside down, my leg's above me, maybe the leg gets caught in the rope, and maybe another rope goes in, twists in through the ice sacks in the back of the bag. I think you're going to be relying on people. You're going to be struggling. Now, if you've set yourself up right, your safety rope here, which you can see is running off here, will be shorter than the length of my. Whoops! Let me just go back there. It'll be shorter than the length of my arm, so I should be able to reach up to the safety rope.
Yeah, okay.
There's no point in having a safety rope that's 3 meters long.
Okay.
You're not going to be able to pull yourself up. So, if it came to it, you might have to pull yourself out. Would you be hoping for assistance, depending on how you get twisted up? So this is the very top of the icefall here, and this brings it out into the Khumbu Valley. So it's been a very claustrophobic kind of climb up here. But as soon as you can see that guy's head, as soon as you pop up, the view changes completely. Let's just have a look there. So this is Camp 1. So this is a few hundred meters from the top of the icefall. So you can see suddenly the whole thing opens up on the left.
So you've arrived in the previous photo. You've arrived from there.
It's several hundred meters back.
Yeah, behind where you're taking the picture.
You got to get well clear of the edge because the cracks can appear anywhere. But over there on the left is Everest. You can see there's the summit.
Yeah.
And this is Lhotse here.
Yeah.
These are so you'll have one team here, another team here, another team here, another team here. But it's similar all the way up the first half of the Khumbu Valley. You can see all those crevasses there. It's not that sort of the icefall is the only place you get a crevasse.
Okay, lots of holes in the snow. Yeah. Okay. And is there is orange the color?
It seems to be there. Yeah, I suppose there's an element of if something goes wrong, you can see people.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, a safety color. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it seems to be the natural trend. I always find though black stands out very well because it's against so much white. So it's whatever one fancies oneself. But obviously at night, an orange tent, if you've got a light in it, it's going to show up from a long distance away.
Because you're looking for it's nighttime and you're looking for your tent.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So this is Camp 1 here, and the key is to find a route which goes around as much as possible the crevasses. So we often went over here on the right, and we got around a few of them, but we definitely had a couple of ladders to go across them. There's no other way. So ultimately, we have to get from Camp 1. I think we said this week the climbers are up around Camp 3. Well, they touch Camp 3. They're probably resting at Camp 2. Camp 2 is over there. So once we go above Camp 1, there's one of the crevasses. There's a buddy of mine, Greg. He took the previous photo. He got some lovely photos. So there's a crevasse there up close. It's 2 ladders joined together, straightforward aluminium ladders.
Do the ropes ever break?
Well, it's not that the ropes won't break, but what can happen here is that these can pull out. I definitely saw a few of them that looked a little bit on the light side.
Yeah. They've melted, and there was snow or ice has melted around them.
Greg is whatever weight he is, he's got a bag in his back. If he fell, there'd be momentum. Suddenly you discover that they're not hooked.
That's not well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I never saw a rope come out that someone was reliant on, but the reality is, they're screwed in, they're hammered in. The sun is beating down on them.
They come with no guarantees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's your typical kind of or your typical crevasse there.
Yeah, I just see from the kind of darkness here. I mean, that could be anything 100 meters. That could be.
Could easily be 100 meters. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be straight down. You could be bang up, but I mean, if you go down, it's probably it.
It's not good.
No, that's probably the end. So that moves up from Camp 1 up to Camp 2. Camp 2 is Camp 1 is a kind of a temporary camp. It's based on the glacier, on the snow. Camp 2 is a bit more, has a more sort of a permanent feel. It feels a bit like your home away from home. It's sort of like base camp. So here we have we got the mess tents, the storage tents, possibly a toilet tent there, and then all the individual sleeping tents here for all the individual climbers. There's another mess tent off the team there, probably a storage tent here, another mess tent there. So base 2 is kind of Camp 2 is kind of the main place once you get up the mountain.
And is that because it looks like it's off any kind of ice, or am I reading that wrong?
Well, it's on the side of the glacier, so it's probably still glacier, but it's close to the edge of the mountain itself, and you don't get any crevasses there. You don't get the same amount of movement.
Yeah, okay.
It's definitely
a slightly flatter
place.
part. Yeah, okay. So it's more permanent, effectively.
Yeah, these aren't going to move. I mean, down even at base camp, from when in between our different rotations, you could see how your tent had moved a little bit. You could see how water had melted.
Okay.
A tent that was on its own now maybe had a little moat of water around it.
Yeah.
Camp 2 up here is a bit more stable.
Okay.
Just zooming in there a little bit, you can see individual guys early in the morning. They're all drying all their gear, because at night you're zipped up, your tent is zipped up, or your bag is zipped up. There's no perspiration escaping. So in the morning there, in the bright sunlight, they've got all their sleeping bags, gloves, hats, jackets, everything up here just drying. This is kind of a typical Camp 2 scene. I'm not sure. They're all staring at something with great interest. That's the side of it. There might have been a rock fall or something there, but everybody seems fixated on something over there for some reason. I'm not sure why. But
we're looking up the route. The route.
Well, it's not. Well, the route actually is behind them, as it turns out. So let me show you that. So I'm just going to go back to that, the very first screen again, just to put everything.
Just shows where Camp 2 is. Yeah.
So we started at base camp up to the Icefall. Camp 1 was just hidden here above the Icefall. This is Camp 2 here.
Okay.
Those guys, they were just looking here for some reason. Yeah. Something must have caught their eye. But it's behind them, and we'll have a look at that now. This is the route up to Camp 3, up to Lhotse face.
Okay, and maybe put into perspective, say those two numbers there, 3 to 4, that's Camp 2 to Camp 3. What kind of A, distance, and B, then time?
First time, you'll certainly get up there in one way in 6 hours on the first acclimatization. That's when you're not quite used to it, but you could certainly do it in 4 hours as well, getting from 3 to 4. And the altitude, this is 6,400 meters. This is 7,100. So a gain of 600-700 meters type thing. It's a substantial gain for one day, but it's not that difficult. I mean, the Icefall is extremely difficult. It's claustrophobic. You don't know what's going on. It's hard to see progress.
You can't see where you are.
1 to 2 is fairly straightforward. It's only a 400-meter gain. 3 to 4, you can always see the target, which makes it a lot easier. You can see where you're going. You can see what's behind you. Yeah, exactly. That's what. So that was always. I don't know if enjoyed is the word, but that was never a particularly difficult one. 3 up to 4. Let's just have a look at that now. Camp 2 up to Camp 3. So this is where we were, but behind those guys then, so this is looking out from Camp 2, this is the edge of Camp 2, and this is the start of the route to Camp 3. So you can see little pairs of climbers here.
Like a little trail, yeah.
You can see the route there, and it starts to get steep there as you get towards the Lhotse face proper. Now, this next photo it's taken from the exact same place, but it's zoomed out. And those little 4 climbers, you can see them there?
They're the ones in the previous photo.
Yeah, it's little dots, so it gives you an idea. So this is the edge of Camp 2. This is one of the last tents on the edge. So the route went up there. There was those 4 climbers. The route goes up to there. This is the Bergschrund here.
And what's that?
That's so you've got a glacier. So the glacier comes all down here.
Tons of ice. Yeah,
and there's a natural cliff or a natural break. So the glacier just has a sudden drop.
And it's always 10, there.
15, always there. Now it's slightly different in form because everything's moving, but it's always there. There's a natural sort of it's almost vertical there, of a little break, and it's called a Bergschrund. I think a Bergschrund is any style of break like that in a glacier. Then the route goes up to Camp 3. Camp 3 then, not the safest of places. I mean, Camp 2, as you can see, is off here to the side. It's on rocks. It's relatively safe. Camp 3, Camp 3, you're just looking at putting in a little ridge somewhere, and it'd be the climbers, or indeed the Sherpas, as is often the case. They'll flatten out a ridge with shovels or ice axes to fit in some tents. So we have them normally around here. Here's obviously too steep. There'd be avalanches and rock falls coming down here.
Okay.
So over here is a little bit safer. So let's just have a look at another angle at that. So this is looking at the Lhotse face from Camp 2. So there's that Bergstrom that I spoke about, 10 or 15 meters straight up. You can see a lad here, maybe just having a little rest. Probably took him an hour to get there from Camp 2. He's just stopping, sorting himself out, climb up there, and you can see the route goes up there. Individual climbers, that's what it is. Yeah. So that's, let me think, I suppose maybe 400 meters, 500 meters from here to the top. So there's the,
in terms of altitude, yeah, and I can see the tents there then.
That's them there. So it's so different teams is pretty much find a ridge where you can. So there's one team there, second team there.
So there's no welcoming reception. There's no.
I mean,
there's no campsite.
First person to get up there, first Sherpas. It's just a glacier.
Find a place.
And they're using their experience. There's no point in being out here. You're going to get wiped out. You don't want to be in anything that's too steep because your tent will go. You want to find a place where with minimum effort you can take out your shovel and dig something flat. Get your get yourself roped in, get everything tied down, and set up a few tents. I think this was us here. That's where we had our camp. A few more over here, and indeed there'll be more. A little bit out of shot. There'll be more up here. The upper Camp 3, up for about another 100 meters above. There'll be other tents up there.
So Camp 3 isn't a kind of a fixed point. It can be, we'll go on a couple of 100 meters beyond, and that'll be our Camp 3.
Exactly. Yes. Wherever. I mean, different teams year to year, they kind of have a favorite spot, but as I say, it's always moving, and it's wherever you find.
When you say fixed in, I mean, I have a very limited experience of camping. I know you fix the tent to the ground typically. Do you fix anything else in?
You do because the tents. I mean, if things move or if there's a high wind, the tents could go. So we'll also possibly have a fixed rope running alongside it. I mean, the ridge is only just about the width of a kitchen table. It's just wider than the tents. So we'll have a fixed rope there so that when people are walking in and out, if you got to go to the toilet at night, just clip yourself into that and edge along. And indeed, one of the tents might be linked into, whoops, just jumped on there. There we go. The tents, depending on where they are, will be linked in. I know there was it's not unknown for a tent to just simply drop down, might be
fall off the edge.
Yeah, I mean, these things can happen.
So it's not glamping?
No, not quite. No.
Okay.
So that's the route up to Camp 3. So that's where the climbers have touched in the last few days on Everest, and they're waiting now for a weather window to go further. This is that route up that we saw. So this is on the way up to Camp 3. So you can see it's fairly icy there.
So it looks shiny. I mean, if you're wearing your rubber shoes, would you?
Yeah, you're gonna be going for a slide on that.
Okay.
Even standing still, I remember was quite tiring. And I remember even turning around. You take a little rest, turning around and sitting down. I mean, you really got to dig in with your crampons to make a little platform for yourself just to sit there.
Because if you sit down, you're gone.
Yeah, I mean, if you sat without crampons, I mean, when I say sit down, you're obviously clipped into the rope in any case. But if you just sat down with your smooth down suit, you'd start to slide away. So you really got to kick in a little bit, make a little platform, and then dig in those crampons hard, and then sit down.
Okay.
It's a rest, and you take on a little water, but it's far from relaxing because you're slightly fighting gravity the whole time. Yeah. As you can see, it
looks steep.
It's a slippy surface.
Yeah.
So here's some of those tents up at Camp 3. Yeah, it is just a ledge. It's not entirely flat. You can kind of see the gradient is going left down to right. You can see where the snow has gathered in. I mean, between trips, you might have to dig your tent out. Certainly the snow could be up to there. You can see there's a snow shovel left here, sort of for that.
And I see the fixed line here that somebody said, right, we're going to tie our tents in.
Yeah, exactly. So different teams, different ways. You can see there's another rope gone across here. So, for instance, this could move. Yeah, anything could move. So you do your best to try and have a few ropes there that people can be connected into. Yeah, and I remember
on a ropes there. Yeah,
on a training climb, even when we were in our sleeping bags, we had our harnesses on and we had a rope running out of from ourselves, from our sleeping bag out through the tent.
Okay.
Screwed into the glacier.
So don't trust the tent. Yeah.
As a big gust of wind, or if what's underneath it goes, that's it. You're all down. Wow. So that's the tent 3 or the Camp 3 there, but you wouldn't you wouldn't spend more than maybe 2 or 3 nights really at Camp 3. Camp 2 is kind of your advanced base camp, your mini base camp.
Okay, more permanent.
Touch Camp 3 to acclimatise, come back down. Then on your summit push, you'll spend 1 night there. Some people might spend 2, depending. Guys who are trying it without the oxygen tanks, they might spend a bit more time here at Oxford or at Camp 3. They'll sleep there, to give themselves that extra acclimatization. So this is Camp 3 looking back out. You can see the various tents here, the Lhotse face. And these guys are obviously on the summit push. You can see this guy has his oxygen tank on there, and he's masked up. And his two compadres, they're certainly feeling it. I mean, it might just be the moment in time, but he's definitely feeling it. And this guy's feeling it. This guy he seems to be some sort of rock star here.
Or he knows there's a photo being taken.
Maybe this is the moment he's always waited for. He had it planned,
hopefully not his last one.
Yeah, but he was just a guy in another team who's gone by, and someone took out the camera, and bang, it just looked good. So that's the exit there from Camp 3.
Okay, so that's where everybody is at the moment.
That's right. Yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah,
now,
up to about Camp 3. Okay, and what kind of other things are happening? Round about now at this point in the summiting window.
So this is was the 9th today.
Yeah.
This is the 9th. Yeah, I know there's 330 permits issued on the south side for climbers. I mean, reading between the lines, about 20% of them have quit already. Injuries, tiredness, various different reasons, exhaustion, you name it. All the teams, of course, have long arrived at base camp at this stage. The fixed rope and gear, that was dropped up by helicopter to Camp 2, and that saved the Sherpas doing a lot of carries. It's much safer for the Sherpas. It limits their time at the Is that
a new thing this year? Or?
I think it was tried last year for the first time, so it's still slightly in sort of a test mode, but as far as I know, that's going to stay. And it makes sense. If you can drop it up rather than the Sherpas having to carry it.
It costs human life.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. The Camp 2s obviously have been built, or anyone who's still continuing has already slept at Camp 2, and almost all the climbers have reached Camp 3.
Which is what we see here
we're looking at there now. Yeah, some of them indeed, particularly if they're trying it without oxygen tanks, they would have slept at Camp 3. The fixed line, the route that's put in, that's up as far now as 8,000 meters at Camp 4, and it's stopped there because there's a lot of wind at the moment this week. They say that wind is going to be there for another day or two, but they reckon that the rope to the summit should be up by around about May 12th. And pretty much as soon as that rope is in, the teams are going to be right behind them trying to summit. So summits maybe, May 13, May 14, that kind of thing.
Okay, well then hopefully we'll check in with you next week and see how progress has gone.
Super, yeah. I mean, as I said, in a week's time, I'd expect people to be summiting. Maybe we might take a look at the route from Camp 4 up to the summit, up through Summit 9, maybe just have a few photos and just chat through them again like today, yeah?
Sounds perfect. Talk to you next week.
Great, so thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Cheerio.